Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my newest video on Trooper Trig's YouTube channel. So today I wanted to do another Hot Toys list. Last time I did my top 5 favorite Hot Toys figures, and you guys seem to like that. So originally today I was going to do my top 5 least favorite Hot Toys, but really I couldn't figure out 5 Hot Toys that I really genuinely disliked. Most of them, really there's not any that I can wholly dislike, it's just piece of them that I don't like. But today I wanted to do my top 5 what I would consider most underrated Hot Toys figures. So I will only be counting figures that I have. I have about 50, 60 figures in the collection that I've amassed over the past couple years. And because I really just wanted to be able to give you what I've experienced with my own, personal experiences with the figures. So how would I determine what a figure is underrated? It's just figures that I see people aren't really talking about and don't really seem to be that well desired, and they're not very going for very much on the secondary market, or not as much as I think they might be worth compared to other figures that are going for a lot. So these actually might be some good figures to take a look at for yourselves if you're interested in, the properties that they're a part of, because I think they're, like I said, underrated, and either that whether it comes in the form of them not going for much on eBay, or they're still in stock places, or they have coupons on Sideshow or something. So these are just things that figures that I think would be worth checking out and giving a second look. So, real quick before I get started, I just want to say if you guys are interested in seeing my collection behind you up close and seeing all my figures, I did upload a video not too long ago on that. So, if you're interested in that, feel free to check that out. So, anyways, let's get started with the list, and I'm going to show you my one honorable mention first. All right, so for my honorable mention, this is a figure that was definitely going to be on the list when I first kind of came up with it, but recently he's really jumped up in price. But I still wanted to put him on here because he's one of my favorite figures in the collection, definitely one of my favorite Marvel figures in the collection. But recently, like I said, he's really spiked up, and that's the Hot Toys Winter Soldier Bucky Winter Soldier figure. Like I said, he was, I want to say, going for like 300-ish for a long time, which isn't much more than what he retailed for. And this is an absolutely killer figure, even though it's a little older. I think he looks perfect in just about everything you could hope for a figure of this character. The only thing that I ever had a problem with is the arm, where it has the leather material would start to flake. Mine is completely flaked off, basically. Just I got him for a really good price. I paid like 250 for this guy, but I kind of hid that. But obviously with Falcon and Winter Soldier being out and him making an appearance in this costume for a brief scene, it's gone up in price a lot, and I've seen him go for $500 or $600 recently, which I'm not shocked by because, like I said, it's a great figure that I'm surprised wasn't going for that, you know, in the past. I've got him in a with both of his guns in his hands displayed kind of like that. I think he looks incredible, super awesome. The guns are awesome. So many guns, so many knives. It's just a perfect representation of this character. Probably my favorite look for Bucky too. So I definitely knew this was the one I wanted to get. So I'm happy I got him before he really spiked up in price. And like I said, maybe not so underrated anymore, but maybe when the hype dies down from Falcon Winter Soldier, he'll drop again. And if it does, you might want to check this guy out if you're a Marvel fan or a Bucky fan or just a Winter Soldier fan. That's one of my favorite Marvel movies. So yeah, definitely check this guy out if you can get him for a good price. All right, so moving on to the actual list, we're going to look at number 5. This is a DC figure, the only DC figure on this list. DC is definitely the thing I collect the least out of everything. I'd say breakdown would be like 50% Star Wars, 40% Marvel, then like, 10% DC or something like that. But I still have a couple. I mainly was focusing on like the Dark Knight trilogy, but then the Snyder Cut came out, and then that was a whole thing where I just felt like collecting the Snyderverse figures, and this one isn't necessarily one of those, but it's still a really cool figure that from a movie that I think is really underrated. That's really cool, and this figure is definitely underrated. I know he just sold out on Sideshow, but you can still get him for a really good price on eBay, like basically retail price. So definitely jump on that when you can. That's the Solo movie Aquaman figure. Now I get it if you're not like a DC fan at all, then you probably don't want to get him. But if you're like a DC fan and you just kind of stayed away from him because it's not the Justice League version or whatever, I think you're making a mistake. If you can get the Justice League version, I would be happy to have that. But if I could only have one or the other, I think I'd pick this one. It's just So colorful and so vibrant. Like he when you walk in to my room, he's usually right there. You see the empty space. He really pops, even though he's not on the top shelf. He completely pops in the shelf. The display base they gave him, I think this is actually from the Dark Side Anakin, but they turned it into water looking. It's so cool looking. It's just the blue, the green, and the orange. It just pops more than just about any other figure in my collection. Maybe the vintage Boba Fett, that one definitely has a great color to it, but this one is something else. Like I said, I picked him up on Sideshow right after the Snyder Cut came out. I just felt like I needed as many DC figures as I could get then. So he was one of the ones I picked up, and I'm really happy I did. And like I said, from what I've seen, maybe 10, 20, 30 bucks more on eBay from what he was going for originally, which I don't think he uses it, only like 240. So yeah, if you're a DC fan, I definitely don't sleep on him because I think he's eventually, especially when Aquaman 2 comes out, I'm not sure if he's going to have the same costume, but people are going to be nostalgic for this figure and wish they picked him up. So probably check him out if you still can. I think he's definitely underrated. All right, so moving on to number 4, we have a figure who, the other figures of this character, a lot of them have gone for a lot of money on the secondary market and, a lot over retail. So I'm really surprised this one hasn't. This is one of my favorite interpretations of this character. It's a Star Wars character, and I'm really surprised it hasn't gone up in price as much as I would have expected it to, and I think it is in the future. And that's the Hot Toys Bespin Leia from Empire Strikes Back. Like I said, like the A New Hope Leia and the Hoth Leia go for crazy amounts of money, and this one, from what I've seen, really hasn't. I picked it up for under retail when I first got it about a year ago. From what I've seen, it's going for a little over retail, but probably what it would have cost on Sideshow, for shipping and taxes taken involved. So I have a feeling this one's time is coming though. Like this one definitely gonna go up in price really soon, especially if we ever get Bespin Han, which I hope we do, and I think we will pretty soon. We gotta have a new Han Solo soon, right? Because we passed the Solo hype. But anyways, when that happens, this figure is gonna go crazy, I think. And the portrait is dead on Carrie Fisher. Obviously, I love this outfit for her because it's just kind of what I picture as like, as like an EU fan, I like to picture what the characters looked like in the Thrawn trilogy and all that. And I could picture her kind of wearing this outfit when she's like in the Senate and everything. So with her and the Endor Leia, which I didn't pick up the Endor Leia, I kind of regret it. That's another one that's not going for that much. So if you want a Leia, get this one or the Endor Leia. The Endor Leia looks really good. I just couldn't really get past the elbows. But this one, you don't have that problem. She doesn't come with many accessories, which I've seen some people complain about. She does come with the cool. It's made of styrofoam kind of material, but it's like a cool Bespin wall. You can kind of see with the vintage Boba Fett way in the corner of the screen. Behind him is the Bespin wall. And if you check out my collection video, I can you'll see, check that out. I'll show that to you. But a really cool figure, definitely underrated. Pick her up if you want to Leia, if you're an original trilogy fan, Empire Strikes Back fan, EU fan, like I said for myself, and I don't know, maybe she'll show up in Mandalorian at some point, I hope. Yeah, I love this figure, definitely underrated. Check it out if you haven't already. All right, so for number 3 on the list, we have the last Marvel figure. This is another one kind of like Winter Soldier, where I know he was really underrated for a long time, but I think recently, after he sold out on Sideshow, he's gone up, not as crazy as I would have thought he would have, but still a really, great figure that I think deserves to go for a lot on the secondary market because I think he is a really cool figure. If you watch my top 5 favorite Hot Toys, he took a really high spot on that, mainly because of sentimental value, but I still think he's one of the most quintessential versions of this character. That is the concept art Captain America. Super, super great. My first Hot Toys figure that I had in hand, and it blew me away, made me kind of want to stop collecting Black Series and Marvel Legends, even though I still collect them a little bit. This figure made me focus on Hot Toys, which I'm happy I picked it up. It's just immaculate, I think. I don't have the Endgame one yet. I know it's shipping from Sideshow soon. I haven't even pre-ordered it just because I feel like this is just such a perfect figure. I don't want to feel like I have to replace him. I'll probably pick up the Endgame version though, because Captain America is my favorite Marvel character, one of my favorite movie characters ever, period. But like I said, he sold out on Sideshow recently. He was up for a really long time. I got mine with like the free shipping when it was still available. Uh, and I think he's going for a little over 300 on eBay. which isn't that much considering I think he only went for like, or went originally sold for like 260. So with shipping and all that, you're paying right now about what you paid for Sideshow. So if you're looking for a really good Captain America, and if you don't want the Endgame one for some reason, or if you have the Endgame one and you're just a big Captain America fan and you want a cool interpretation of the character, this is one not to sleep on because I could see this one eventually kind of really, climbing up there with like kind of like I'm thinking. I don't think it'll go as crazy as like the holiday special Boba Fett, but that was one that I know originally he was up forever, sold out, didn't go for much, and then something. Yeah, there was like a bunch of Boba Fett hype, and it was just like that, you know, $700-800 figure. Maybe not that much, but I know he was going for a lot of money. Could see maybe something like that happening with this one. I don't think to that extent, but definitely I could see him going for a lot in this future. So if you're interested in this guy, I'd say probably check him out because I think he is super cool. And yeah, like I said, he was really high up on my top 5 favorite Hot Toys figures. So maybe take a look at that list too to see where he ranked on there. So yeah, that is number 3. All right, so for number 2, I've got another Star Wars figure here. The last number 2 and number 1 will both be Star Wars figures. This is one, I think it's the only one on the list that is actually still in stock on Sideshow, which I think is insane. I can almost 100% guarantee you when he sells out, he's gonna go for crazy amounts. I was actually gonna put Commander Cody on this list because he was in stock for a good amount of time when I was thinking about making this list, but he sold out recently. So, and going for insane amounts of money. And the same thing's gonna happen with this figure, and that is the Hot Toys Episode 1 Qui-Gon Jinn. I guess he's not from any other movie, obviously. I have the swooshing effect on him for just because I needed the green blade for another figure. But yeah, this is just a stellar head sculpt for Liam Neeson. Like I said, every Jedi figure they've done, whether that be, well, I guess they've only really done a couple, but prequel Jedi, you had Anakin, you had Obi-Wan, you had Darkseid Anakin. All 3 of them are, I don't know, between like $500 and like $900 or something, depending on which one. And I think Qui-Gon's not going to be that different, especially when like Episode 1 Obi-Wan probably will come out soon. And you're definitely going to want to pair him with him, the 2 of them together. And like I said, he's like 230 on Sideshow right now. If you're new to Hot Toys, this is a good one I think to pick up for your first one. If you're not, you probably have rewards points saved up or something, or a promo code. Use them on him. Just dump them all on him. That's what I did because I was kind of hesitant at first for some reason. So I just put all my points on him, paid like 150, and just so happy I did. I would have paid full price for him having him in hand now because he's spectacular. And like I said, do not sleep on him, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Please don't sleep on him because I know there's going to be a lot of people who regret not getting him because I have a feeling he's probably not as well produced as some other figures. So I could see him maybe being like what was that? Like the Remnant Trooper was in stock for a while, and that figure's going crazy now. So I could see him being like a Star Wars figure like that. Star Wars figures, when they sell out, especially when they're a desirable character like this, go for a lot of money. Like look at Anakin. Anakin was super well stocked. Same thing with Obi-Wan. They were in stock for a long time, but they sold out and went for an insane amount of money. I think the same thing's gonna happen with Qui-Gon. So yeah, check him out. Definitely pick him up if you haven't already, if you're a Star Wars fan. So yeah, he's number 2. Okay, so moving on to number 1, I could see this probably being my most controversial pick because I feel like I'm like the only person in the whole world who defends this figure. I don't know why. He's pretty cheap on the secondary market from what I've seen. I think he only just sold out on Sideshow after being in stock for a really long time, despite being one of my favorite figures. I think he's got one of the best portraits they've ever done. And I kind of understand it because, fair warning, this figure is from The Last Jedi. I really like The Last Jedi. I don't like the other 2 sequel movies. I know that's a controversial opinion. That's just what I feel. But even if you're not a Last Jedi fan, if you're an Expanded Universe fan like myself, I think you'll find a lot of use for this figure. And like I said, I feel like I'm the number 1 fan of this figure. I don't know why people don't like him that much. But that's the Episode 8. People call him Hobo Luke, but I kind of consider this kind of my Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. Now, as you can see, I kind of took what I would consider kind of like mythos, as Sideshow would say, where it's like this didn't happen, but you can kind of use your imagination, where he's dual wielding his Episode 6 green lightsaber with his Episode 4 and 5, Anakin's lightsaber. Now, this figure actually comes with the blue lightsaber. The green lightsaber's from my Endor Luke, and then I took the blade from the Qui-Gon, which is why I had the swooshing effect on him in the last spot. But even still, you still get the episode 4 lightsaber, you get a ton of Force hands. So if you're not a fan of The Last Jedi, you can do some really cool things with him, like just kind of picturing in your mind what Luke would look at like at this age, even if you're not a Last Jedi fan. Like I said, I am. There's a lot that I don't like about the movie, but I think it was really ambitious and tried a lot of stuff, but I won't go into that. That could be a whole nother video why I like The Last Jedi, but I won't go into that now. But I'll try to show you the head sculpt. It's like dead on old Mark Hamill. It's the best Mark Hamill head sculpt they've ever done. Probably the best Mark Hamill head sculpt you can get in anything, period, I would say. Because it's near perfect in a lot of ways. Like I said, does not go for much. I didn't even get the deluxe version because I did not care about those accessories, because all you got was like a porg and like the stupid milk thing. Oh god. Yeah, that's where I won't defend some of the stuff they did in that movie, but regardless, like I said, I feel like I'm the #1 fan of this figure. So much fun posing him. I loved it. I'm so happy I picked him up. I got him for Christmas this past year. I was so happy I did because it's really cheap. On Sideshow had them with like a coupon and like a $20 off coupon. It was just like, it's like if you got them from Sideshow a couple months ago, you could get them for under 200 without using rewards points. It was like, how did that happen? It's just so perfect. So yeah, and like I said, you can still get them for a good price. If you're interested in deluxe accessories, it's probably not going to cost you that much more. But if you really want, I say you could. This is a case where I think you can stick to just the normal accessories, and you can do what I did, where if you have the episode 6 Luke, just put the light up arm on it, take the hilt from it, and then just you gotta find a blade somewhere, and you can do a really cool kind of your imagination, let your imagination run wild with this figure, and that's why I love him so much. And like I said, I feel like I'm the #1 fan of this figure in the world. So I'm not saying you have to check him out, but if you are kind of a fan of Luke, like Luke's one of my favorite characters. If you're a fan of the EU, and especially if you're a fan of The Last Jedi, how do you not have this figure? But yeah, regardless, I think this is a super underrated figure. He's my #1 most underrated figure that I own, at least. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Be sure to check out my other Hot Toys figures, because I have other videos, I should say, because I have pretty many up on the channel by now. So again, thanks so much for watching, and have a good one, guys.